So one of the things that I shared yesterday, just a couple lies that I believe that culture is telling women, and I feel very strongly about it. Um, One of the things that I've seen in the relationship space and things like that, a lie that's being told is that I shouldn't have to change or compromise for anyone. I shouldn't have to change or compromise for anyone. That is a lie. Oh, you should just accept me for who I am. No, no. People shouldn't have to tolerate toxic behavior. And a lot of times, y'all, when we are dealing with ourselves, everything we do makes sense to us, right? If I'm living by myself, everything I do is logical. It makes sense to me. But as soon as you start living with somebody else, as soon as you have that, you're around someone else, some of the things you do get highlighted because they're not raised the way you was raised. They don't do things the same way you do them. And so there might be little nuances about your personality and behavior that somebody else picks up on. And it's not for you to be pig-headed or stubborn or any of those things to say, oh, well, I'm right and you're wrong, or how my family did it is better. No, that's very stubborn. That's not right. That's not right. That is not right. When you go into relationships, and a lot of women desire relationships, somebody shouldn't have to just tolerate with aspects of your personality because you was raised that way. No. They should. When it comes to relationships, whether they're friendships, whether it's family, whether it's somebody you see in, you will have to compromise. And if you don't have to compromise, or you seek out relationships where you don't have to change, that means that you are refusing to grow. And to me, that's an immature personality. Because growth is a mindset. And if you're not in the growth mindset and you're just surrounding yourself with people that don't challenge you, then that shows me you don't desire growth. You desire wilderness. You don't desire promised land. Because when you are trying to grow, you surround yourself with people that are challenging you, that are holding you accountable. That's the only way. Getting uncomfortable is the only way that we are able to grow. So you shouldn't just be seeking out people where you don't have to compromise, you don't have to change. They just accept you for who you are. No. No. And the lie that, oh, if they don't accept you, or they, I'll hear women all the time, well, this is just who I am. This is just who I am. No. That's toxic. That actually needs to change. Somebody shouldn't have to deal with that just because you was raised that way or you saw your mama act like that. Like, that is not good behavior. Okay? No one should have to tolerate BS because of things that you done been through in your past. I've seen women say, oh, I just check his phone, or I do this or I do that because my past. No, heal. That's not for you to go into your next relationship and perpetuate this cycle because you haven't done the work you needed to do. You wanted to get in another relationship and another relationship and another relationship rather than taking the time to be by yourself and sit with self and say, what don't I want to do the next time? What do I want to do better the next time? Not continue to bleed on people that didn't cut me because I can't be by myself. I've come on here and I've talked to men about having self-control and walking in discipline. I think that's very important. We've seen how lust, especially lust, how that has been a terrible driver of men. And that our community has continuously reinforced that men should run with lust and just sleep with everything moving, and just not because they got options or because they've gotten to a certain level, just walk any way they want to, watch as much porn as they want to, just do whatever and just completely self-destruct. No, those are toxic narratives, and those are, I believe, narratives from the enemy, because men had dominion from the garden. And so the only way the enemy can take us all out is by taking out the man. I think men should have dominion. I think they should have dominion over themselves, and I think they should have dominion over their household. That's what I believe. When I go into a marriage, I don't know if people are saying this, but I'm going to say it openly. When I go into a marriage, I want my husband to have dominion. I don't want to be the leader of my household. I want him to be the leader of my household. And if I am meeting a man, I don't want to meet a man that does not have dominion over himself. How can you possibly lead me when you can't lead you? I want to be submissive to a man that is submitting himself to God. That's what I want. That's what I want. And so the idea of I shouldn't change and you should just accept me as I am and I don't need to compromise and this is where I'm from and this is what I did growing up and this is what I did in my last relationship. If you want a relationship with anyone, I'm not saying you're changing inherent aspects of self, of your personality. You're changing everything just to be with somebody. No, you'll never be good enough for the wrong person. I'm going to say that again. You'll never be good enough for the wrong person. You'll never be good enough for the wrong person. However, I do think it's a toxic narrative to say you shouldn't have to change or compromise, because I don't care what the relationship is. Even my relationship with God, God created me and I am constantly having to change. That's the requirement. Every time I submit myself to him, he makes me aware of something new about me. He edifies me. He prunes off aspects of me that need to change in order for me to be a better version of myself.